And it was nice hearing the science of it from someone who's studied like these kind of things. So it's been very helpful. But the overall theme in when Rachel was diagnosed and told there was no chance, the overall theme was that we were we were defiant. We were at odds with that. We were sure she was going to survive, and we had made this decision. But I wonder if, I've thought, was that the right thing to do? Would she have liked someone to talk to her about it? Because she didn't want to talk about it. That's the other side of the coin. When I think about that, and I think about the times I did try to talk to her about it, and of course she didn't want to talk about it or think that she was dying. But in the end, she knew. And when she was home on hospice, I think it hit her. I think she had a 24-hour period where she was asleep. After we disconnected her TPN feeding, it was a big issue for me. I wanted her to stay on this TPN, and she was still alert every day in the morning when she was getting her TPN feeding. But the hospice nurses were pushing and pushing and pushing, and the hospice doctor pushing for her to get off of TPN, saying it's more of a hindrance than being helpful for her. TPN is the only way she was getting nutrition. It was through a tube going into her. She had a PICC line, so all of her nutrition would come in intravenously. And I'd wake up, change the bag for her TPN, and she'd carry on with this PICC line. And finally, this hospice nurse waited till it was just me and Rachel. And she said, it was really, I think, because Rachel was on hospice for a couple weeks, 3 weeks or so, I think hospice I think they're set up to usher you into a comfortable dying situation. I don't think their goal is not long-term survival at all costs. It's the opposite. And Rachel had expressed that that's what she wanted, was to stay alive. And meaning they asked her, what would you like? Comfort? Do you want to just us to focus on your absolute comfort, or do you want the goal to be longevity and try to keep you alive as long as you can? And she said longevity at the cost of her comfort. But when she came home on hospice, the big theme coming from them was us accepting that she was dying, which when someone's that young, or it's if it's an elderly person and someone who's lived a full life, sometimes you can accept it and say, okay, we accept it. But when it's your life, your love of your life, and she's 34, no, you just can't. You can't. So I had to fake it and say, yeah, we know. We understand. But this woman waited till everyone left and said, we need to disconnect her from this TPN line. It's causing more pain than anything, because her body was filling up with tumors, and they were saying that it was causing the tumors to grow faster, which might be true. But the reality is, that day when we disconnected her TPN line, Rachel fell asleep and didn't wake up for 24 hours. She was out. And I remember that night she was sleeping so hard, and her brother was there, and we were talking about whiskey. She woke up like momentarily, and she said something like, what did she say? Bourbon cocktails? Yeah, she heard us talking, and she joined in, and then she fell back asleep. And she stayed asleep, and she became very weak and tired after being disconnected from the TPN. In retrospect, I wonder if that 20, because before then she was saying, let me fill out the cards for our wedding, our save the dates came in. And then she said, she's not invited to our wedding, like talking about the hospice nurse. So she still was on this fighting. She was still in fight mode. But then when she came around after that disconnection from TPN, her demeanor had changed. And I wonder if sometime in that deep sleep of hers, I think she wrestled. I think she wrestled with it. And I think she came to terms with it. Imagine a mind like Rachel's, a young, vibrant, extremely intelligent, wildly imaginative mind like Rachel's, lying in a bed, completely unable to do anything, all power taken from her to move, to go to the bathroom, to change positions, hasn't eaten anything, hasn't tasted anything in a long time, other than water or juice or whatever I could get her to put in her mouth. And lying there, extremely weak, her body's hardening with tumor mass, and she looks pregnant almost with the amount of mass going on in her abdomen, and she gets disconnected from this TPN, and she falls into a deep sleep. I wonder what's going on in that mind of hers. And when she came to, it was almost as if she had had a moment with God, because she seemed calm and serene and she began to say things to us like it's coming. And she would say this to her father too, and to her mother. She would reach out her hands to comfort you. And she was saying it to me, so she started to know that she was dying. And if I do have a regret, I wish I really knew in those days ahead. I was so anxious, and I was so tired from our hospital visit, and just smoked. I wasn't sleeping, but I wish I had known a little bit more, because I wonder what else I could have done. But the thing that amazes me is the way she said, is it time? The last time, the night before she died, and everyone left the room, and it was just me by her side. And she said, is it time? And she was so I couldn't believe how sweet she was about it. And she pulled me up onto the bed, like in a very sweet, very gentle way, like, is it time? And I said, I didn't know what she was saying. I said, time for what, Rachel? To take you to the hospital? Do you want to leave? And she kept shaking her head, no. I think she just wanted me to say. She didn't want to say it, the words, time to die. She just wanted me to get it, and I did. So I got up on the bed with her, and we cried, and I told her it was okay to let go, and I was proud of her, and I told her the last thing I said in that moment was that I said, I'll miss you. And it was the last thing I said because I couldn't get out any other words. If you can imagine saying that to the person you love so much, who you know is trying to let go. Rachel never put her head back. And I think it was out of fear that she would lose control. And that night she put her head back. She was trying to let go. And that's one of the most profound things to me, is her saying, is it time? Let's go. Get up on the bed with me, and just her wanting to do it that way. It's very touching. And it was just Rachel's way. Like, fight for this. Never give in. Never give in. Never say, oh, I lost this fight. She never did that. She basically fought until she realized, well, I'm not gonna, this is a wave that I can't get past. So guess what? I'm gonna flip around. I'm gonna get on my boogie board and ride this sucker out. And that's what happened. There was no transitional talk or anything. There was just, it went from fight to, hey, let's go. This wave is crashing, so I'm going with it. It's very much her personality. So I think about that sometimes when I wake up in the morning, and I used to feel, it used to really rock me to think about it, just like not sadness, just like reverence, just like I was just in awe of her, of how like I can't believe this was the girl I had, and I would cry not because I missed her, just because just knowing how good she was and how she went through that would get me. And missing the moments with her, she showed me some, like, the stuff that you just don't see in life. A lot of times, everybody wants to feel like an epic moment, a profound epic moment, I think. And I think we search for it as teenagers. We want to, I definitely searched for it with like substances or like whatever mind altering things. But I think everybody wants to feel this like breakthrough moment or these epic moments. But for me, it felt like I saw those things with her. She showed me those things. And they're not so much epic like you would think witnessing like Aurora Borealis or something amazing, like visually, or some sort of like cosmic event. It was much more simple than that. It was more like showing me, what God means, maybe. I don't know why I say it like that. That's what it was like. And that's what it feels like looking back. And that's what it felt like in the moment. It felt very much like God was present. And so now when I think back to her in those moments and the way she lived and the way she laughed all the time, like, I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful that I got my time with her. The only thing I wrestle with now is I'm trying to find a way to make it so that I can live in a way that she would be proud of, which I haven't been doing. But I've been grieving, and there's no excuse, but that's my next step, is to wake up knowing that my day will consist of acts that Rachel would be proud of, meaning my job hopefully will be better. Hopefully I'll be less isolated and closer to the people that she loved, which I've been having a hard time with lately, and closer to the world, really. So that's my next step. That's it for today. And yeah, I think I won't. You probably. This might be it for the show. I don't know. I doubt it. I think I'll probably do one more. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with switching over to a different style show with Mr. Mike Hacking. So, alrighty.